Okay, namaste everyone. Good evening. Bang on, we are 5:30. We are live now, and my name is Lohit Jyoti, and Dyavar from Career Naksha. As usual, we are there. So before we start, little bit introduction about why we are doing this live program through our YouTube channel, and every week we come live and discuss very important topics so that everyone out there can upskill themselves, they learn, and remember one thing, that is life is with full of learning. Yeah. So we Career Naksha is an edtech company where we provide career guidance and counseling to all the individuals out there, whether it be the students to working professionals. We provide scientific psychometric assessments for every individual out there to assess themselves and upgrade themselves and identify what is suitable for them to work. It may be related to upskill themselves or to choose the suitable job out there. We help everyone out there to work on their profile. We provide career after services to this education system. We work with the universities. We help students to get university admissions. We conduct a career educational fair. We conduct expert talks online and offline, and also we provide skill development workshops and many more. So it's been more than 8 years we are working for the benefit of society, for the students, and for working professionals. And definitely, if you want to know more about our services or reach out to our team to get help, so you can log into www.careernaksha.com and you can connect with us. Yeah. So this live workshop that we are conducting with the association with iShards, which is a platform where they provide certification courses for mental health psychologists and the community of psychologists, where they are open to help every individuals if they are so with that, it's time to go ahead with our interested topic of today's, that how anyone can work on procrastination. So anytime where I have heard people are talking about, they really want to do something on their life, and but at the end of the day they won't be able to complete that task. They procrastinate, even if it be the students or the professionals. So let's find out couple of tips, tools, and techniques from our eminent speaker Ritu, who is a clarity coach and cognitive hypnotic therapist. She is also a trained educator, a trainer, mentor, and the founder, creator of her practice, Moving Minds Over Matter. She seeks to empower every individual out there be their own, and she's specialist in navigating their life challenges and create her own conscious change by choice. So with that, so I'm heartily welcoming you, Ritu. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and taking your valuable time to address and to share your expertise, your tools and techniques to the people out there who is watching us today on procrastination. So, warm welcome. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Lohit, for that lovely welcome and a wonderful introduction. And yeah, we'll take it from here. Thank you so much. Uh, a very good evening to everybody watching this YouTube live. And like Lohit said, we are going to be addressing the very common issue of procrastination, which all of us face in some measure or the other. It is an integral part of our lives whether we accept it or not. But yes, when it goes beyond a specific measure and it starts disturbing the normalcy of our life, that's when things are required to be addressed. So, before wasting much time, let's dive into this YouTube live on procrastination. I hope by the end of this live, we all are able to have some valuable takeaways on how to address the problematic aspects of procrastination. Okay, so before we begin, what exactly is procrastination? I'm sure all of us have experienced it in some way or the other. So, if I were to answer that question, I think it's a very common habit. It's a common habit that we all um, struggle with, and it eventually is a behavioral kind of a you know um, aspect of our lives where we can categorize it as laziness and postponing tasks, not wanting to address what needs to be addressed, and kind of wanting to push it under the table and postponing it for another time. So, with the result, what happens is our tasks don't get complete on time. It leads to stress and the pressure of the upcoming deadlines, which we never seem to fulfill. And if we do, we don't do it with the kind of quality that needs to be done. So, if we try and understand what exactly is procrastination, to define procrastination, procrastination is actually an act of delaying or postponing tasks. And like we just said, that it leads to stress and decreased productivity. It is an integral part of our personal as well as professional lives. It affects our level of confidence and our self worth. And there comes a time when we kind of start doubting our own capabilities and capacities. So, to address this procrastination, the act of delaying and postponing tasks and often choosing a short term comfort, over long term goals, and a person resorts to scrolling on the social media, watching TV, and just pushing away the tasks that are more important and demand greater attention for the moment. Uh, so there could be a number of reasons why procrastination happens. Now, there are many reasons, as in the work might be boring, it might be difficult, it might may even be stressful. So, and although we know that completing the task is very, very important, but still we do find excuses of all kinds. Certain psychological reasons that are working behind the scenes that lead to this kind of a behavior pattern could be a fear of failure, wanting to do the job just perfectly, and there is a lack of motivation to do it. There are a number of distractions that prevent the task to be done. Now, over a period of time, the normal laziness or the normal behavior of postponing things moves on to a very chronic form of this behavior. And this leads to missed opportunities, it leads to a reduced productivity, and further and above, it leads to, uh, you know, uh, it starts affecting our physical, mental, emotional space. So, like we just spoke about, there are a number of psychological reasons, triggers. Now, there could be a fear of failure. What if I don't succeed? What if, it doesn't turn out the way I want it to? So, when this kind of a self talk starts taking place in our mind, it leads to a habit of avoidance, So, in order to protect yourselves from any kind of failure, we rather choose not to attempt on that specific task instead of trying to understand what is it that needs attention, what is it that is causing that fear of failure. Another very important factor is perfectionism. Like we want it all just perfect to a T. And somewhere, perfectionism is a very ambiguous concept. it varies from person to person. And whatever, um, you know, perception we have of this um, uh, perfectionism that we want to achieve, we somehow feel that we will not be able to meet up to the standards, and will just not be good enough. And hence, we kind of choose to delay it and not even begin the task. Now, due to a fear of failure and due to a sense of perfectionism that we want to achieve, we rather choose not to do it. Maybe because of the boredom, the difficulty level, and it's not enjoyable enough. It leads to avoidance of that specific task. Another very important thing is, despite knowing everything that it's important, it needs to be done, and you are good enough, and despite knowing everything, there is still a lack of clarity as to what is the objective I'm trying to pursue as a result of accomplishing these tasks. How important are these individual tasks in my journey towards that objective? Now, due to this lack of clarity, there is absolutely no clear plan on how to, uh, kind of address and travel that path, which leads to accomplishment of a goal. There are times when there is no goal and hence there is no clarity. And there are times when there is a goal and there is no clear step by step plan, a scheduled, a segmented kind of an action plan that is required to achieve that kind of an accomplishment. One more factor that plays a very important role is poor time management. When we are just not able to manage the time in accordance with the tasks, in accordance with the quality that the tasks are wanting. So we are just not able to carve out that kind of a time frame on an everyday basis when those tasks need to be accomplished. There is no timestamp on the specific tasks that are leading to the larger objective. So this lack of planning and prioritization also tends to create that kind of a laziness or uh, you know um, non motivation to accomplish any of these tasks. So, like we have just spoken about how these are factors. From the psychological perspective, also, we have two very important theories. Now, there is one which is the uh, temporal motivation theory, as you can see it on the screen right now. So, now, as per the temporal motivation theory, uh, a general study says, research says that people generally procrastinate because, the deadlines are not, uh, you know, they're too far off and you have enough time. So we'll do it when the deadline is close enough. We'll do it when, the sword is hanging on the neck. So due to that lack of motivation, the longer the span, the longer the delay, the less motivated a person feels in trying to address those tasks. Now, furthermore, if a task is boring or it is too difficult, like we just discussed, we put it off. So, short term pleasures over long term goals are preferred as per the temporal motivation theory, which gives us a very important insight onto what goes behind the scenes in this behavioral phenomenon. Now, how do we use this theory, these insights on addressing or beating this habit of procrastination? So, one very important thing is to increase the expectancy. Now, what do I mean by increasing the expectancy? Now, if we have a very long delay, a large amount of time till the deadline, so a very good idea would be to break down those tasks into smaller baby tasks, smaller goals, which are achievable, doable, and probably give us that dopamine kick that as a motivating factor to move forward. So, increasing expectancy is one good way of breaking a larger task into very small, segmented, action oriented steps that can eventually lead us to the eventual objective in a very consistent fashion. And hence, we will be able to avoid procrastination. The second is to enhance the value of the work we are doing, the value which is underneath the task that needs to be accomplished. So, connecting the tasks to any kind of a personal accomplishment, a reward, uh, a sense of fulfillment is something which will increase the motivation and prevent each one of us to push it under the table, not wanting to do it. So, if we attach a value to the task that is at hand, it will serve as a motivating and encouraging factor in kind of rolling out the action plan. Now, thirdly, is to reduce the impulsiveness. Now, a very standard, behavior which accompanies procrastination, which I have often seen in people who I counsel, is social media scrolling, TV, shopping, just randomly talking to people on the phone, which may not be as important as it may sound to be. These are just distractions that prevent one from focusing on what needs to be done. So, reducing these kind of impulsive behaviors um, will be a very good idea. For example, just putting the phone in another room and attaching value to the task at hand uh, will be a good way to substitute that impulsiveness with a core value attached to the task. Now, uh, after increasing the expectancy, attaching a value to the action, reducing impulsiveness, the temporal motivation theory also talks about creating smaller deadlines, smaller milestones. So once the smaller deadlines are met, there is a sense of accomplishment and there is an urge to kind of meet the smaller deadlines, which gives a feeling of movement, a movement onto the path on the accomplishment of the eventual goal. So, this is what the temporal motivation theory underscores as um, how to bring up the motivation in the task that is at hand. The next very important theory, which we often hear about, is the self determination theory. Now, the self determination theory says that people generally procrastinate when they lack intrinsic motivation. Now, we have a lot of external motivations, like the kind of salary we derive, the kind of awards and rewards we get, the deadline accomplishment, which we just spoke in the temporal motivation theory just now. But having said that, intrinsic motivation is the real fuel that um, helps the individual in a consistent and disciplined approach. The intrinsic motivation is what creates the drive to accomplish those tasks. So, as per the self determination theory, procrastination decreases whenever there is no alignment with an intrinsic motivation and the task at hand. So, one thing very important that has to be um, understood is during counseling, during therapy, uh, how to create an intrinsic motivation, how to um, kind of dive deeper into the individual's choices, interests, aptitudes, and what is the thread which links the intrinsic motivation to the task at hand. So, people are more likely to take action when their passions and their values are also accomplished with the task at hand. For example, a student. Now, student who is very passionate about music will Uh, Not procrastinate on some task which is related to probably writing a song or creating a music piece or a composition like that. Instead, if you ask the same student to write a history paper or kind of do some calculations, there is no commonality between the intrinsic motivation and the task at hand. So a very important aspect that can be unearthed during this time is, first of all, to boost autonomy, to boost independence, is to find ways in which the task at hand feels less like a burden and more like a choice. What is that thread which connects that motivation within the individual and the task? Now, improving competence, the self competence, starting with very small tasks and tracking the progress on a regular basis, probably maintaining a journal or a schedule of sorts, which enables us to check the boxes every day that, okay, this was one small task I've done today. These were the two, three tasks that were done today. It kind of, nurtures the self worth and improves the self confidence. That's a very good way of reducing procrastination. Now, when a relatedness, a sense of connection with the others is also established with the task, by probably seeking mentorship, seeking counseling, working with others, with a friend who can probably keep a track on how you're faring, or probably joining a supportive community, because the vibe which is created when the task is done in an atmosphere which is more conducive, which is motivating, which makes creates a sense of accountability and answerability, helps reduce the procrastination a lot, because it infuses a sense of enjoyment, a sense of participation, and the very fact that you are operating in a community, doing the task along with someone, is also a very steady boost to your own inputs, your own interests, and is a very encouraging factor in completing the tasks. And like we said, finding intrinsic value is of prime importance. There is always a possibility of connecting the task at hand to what is intrinsically fulfilling you, apart from the external validation, the awards, the rewards. So, as per the self determination theory, procrastination decreases when a steady connection is created between the intrinsic motivation and the task at hand. So, if we club the temporal motivation theory and the self determination theory, it is a holistic view of the task that needs to be done, the work that needs to be done, along with the external factors like validation, awards, a sense of accomplishment of meeting the deadlines, as well as the internal fulfillment of having that uh, sense of satisfaction and contentment of doing the task and having grown along with it. So, these are some very important psychological perspectives on how procrastination can be dealt with. So, by increasing autonomy, competence, and relatedness, people can reduce procrastination, which is something we have just discussed. Now, what are the possible effects of procrastination? Now, there are short term consequences to it and long term results also. So, the short term results are, it leads to an immediate setback. It's like a shock that one gets, that, oh, I missed my deadline. And, uh, either you've missed the deadline or you started too late and you've compromised on the quality of work, which results in a very, unstructured, not up to the mark kind of an assignment. And the task doesn't bear the stamp of a well done work. So it gives a very chaotic kind of a presentation, which diminishes your own self worth and even the other person doesn't think very highly of you. So these are the immediate short term consequences. Now, over a period of time, if this becomes a repeated behavior pattern, when it turns out to be chronic and consistent procrastination, it can actually lead to external indicators like damaging your reputation in your professional circle, uh, generating a sense of inefficiency, which spirals you into a greater, tendency to not work. It creates a pattern. You start following a pattern, and eventually it becomes like a default setting, and you start falling into that same negative approach towards your work. As a result of this, it diminishes your reputation, your impression, not only in front of the others, but also within yourself, and reduces your confidence. Uh, kind of, you miss out on any kind of opportunities because you are not generating or radiating that kind of a confidence or efficiency that is looked out for. So, having said that, it is likely that the short term and the long term is going to lead to a lot of stress and anxiety. Now, procrastination always results in heightened cortisol, uh, you know, which manifests as stress, worry, tension, and anxiety. And despite logically knowing that the deadlines are approaching, the work needs to be done, I need to start working on getting the work done. Uh, it is a kind of a pattern that one finds it very difficult to break through, and it creates a cycle of pressure, further leading to physiological, health indicators of reduced um, well-being. Now, while it gives physiological indicators of probably any kind of, diseases like blood pressure and increased cortisol, etc., etc., internally also it damages the self-esteem. You know what you're doing is not right, hence it leads you to feelings of guilt and shame, and it really damages your own self-esteem and your belief in yourself and your ability to succeed. So, in a nutshell, this is what short term effects and long term effects of beginning procrastination and chronic procrastination leads to. Now, it's very important to overcome this because it is evident in almost each one of us. But we probably kind of take note of it when it's beyond our control and it starts affecting the normalcy of life around us, starts affecting our health, is the prime cause of stress and anxiety, and the opportunities around us start, evading us. So, how do we overcome procrastination? So, often said and heard, effective time management, very important, to prioritize the tasks, to create schedules, to utilize tools like calendars, and kind of create vision boards that can help individuals to keep going back to the schedule, to ticking the check boxes, to time stamping every task in a very rational manner, and using the time effectively to complete the tasks. So these are the physical techniques that we can use. First of all is scheduling time, prioritizing the tasks, creating the required time needed for every task. Some tasks need lesser time, some need more time, to create a goal oriented approach that, okay, I have accomplished the first, second milestone today, which are the smaller deadlines. I've met the smaller deadlines today. I have one major deadline tomorrow. So, kind of creating a daily schedule like that. Very important is we often get very ambitious in creating these schedules. You know, So we kind of over expect ourselves to do a awesome job in a very unrealistic time schedule. So setting realistic and rational goals are very important. Goals that are achievable, doable, possible, keeping the skills at hand, the resources available, the sense of clarity that we may have with respect to that particular task, and any other kind of hindrances that may be likely to stall the task. Now, those can be physical hindrances like health, they could be mental hindrances like your thought patterns or your emotional states. So it's very important to have a very realistic approach to the resources at hand and what is the physical and mental state. Now, breaking larger tasks into smaller ones, manageable ones, can definitely enhance productivity, and it creates a cycle of accomplishment. The moment the smaller task is accomplished, it gives a dopamine effect, a motivating, you know, a kind of attitude towards going on to the next one and the next one and the next one. So it's very important to create small, realistic, doable, manageable, possible goals. So time management techniques is one very important method which can be done either by yourself or in mentorship with someone or with a friend or with a parent or anyone who you think can be of help in enabling you create that kind of a schedule. Setting realistic goals again, like we just discussed. Now, after having said that, now understanding, identifying personal incentives. Now, what is it that is actually intrinsically motivating you, satisfying you, giving you that sense of contentment apart from the external rewards? What is it that is conditioning you, to uh, give a part of yourself into fulfilling that task? It's very important to identify what is the incentive behind it. So, recognizing those incentives are very important. It acts like a bait. It acts like, you know, something that creates the drive to accomplish that task. It enhances the commitment. It makes us feel answerable to ourselves in order to achieve that incentive. That's very important. So, a very good idea is to actually write it down. What is it that I'm deriving out of this? Is it a sense of personal accomplishment? Does it make me feel more confident? Is it that award that I'm going to get if I kind of accomplish my tasks in a consistent and disciplined manner? So, establishing accountability, creating a sense of accountability through sharing goals, joining support groups, it creates a sense of responsibility. So, the moment we work in a group, like we spoke some time back, there is an onus on us to contribute to that kind of a social ecosystem which is focused on the task at hand. So, this kind of a constructive pressure, this kind of a constructive environment is a very powerful motivator that just doesn't allow any kind of procrastination to seep in. Just by chance, if one does tend to slacken in a social setting, there are enough peers, guides in that social environment who kind of address the procrastination at that point. So, this kind of uh, social setting is very constructive in diminishing procrastination. Now that we have understood time management techniques, if we just recap, the time management techniques was the first thing, the first strategy to combat procrastination, setting realistic goals, which we discussed, identifying personal incentives. What is it that lures us towards accomplishment of that task? Creating a sense of accountability by working in groups, in pairs, all of it is something that are effective strategies towards combating procrastination. Now, the role of therapy in procrastination. Now, therapy has a number of mindful tools which address your cognitive aspect, the emotional aspect, uh, by using various approaches from different psychological backgrounds. So, the first one, which is often spoken about, is the cognitive behavioral therapy. So, like the word suggests, cognitive connecting to the intellect, behavioral, which has an impact on the behavior as a result of the thought patterns, as a result of the intellect, uh, is a very effective approach in restructuring all the negative thought patterns that are proving to be, hindering the task at hand. So let me give you an example. Like cognitive behavioral therapy, it helps individuals change, restructure self-defeating doubts and any kind of self-limiting beliefs that contribute to procrastination. So, for example, if you think that if I can't do this perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all. Now, that's a very negative thought at the onset, which is a sure shot block in accomplishing any task. Now, with the help of CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy, this specific negative thought pattern can be restructured into a very positive and helpful thought, which can be like, okay, doing my best is what I can do, and it's better than not starting at all. So that's a very motivating thought, that it's better to do what I know rather than not starting at all, because if I don't start something at all, how will I ever know whether I can accomplish it or not? So CBT helps in restructuring these kind of thoughts. So taking another example, if you believe that I have so much to do and I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it. So if with the help of cognitive behavioral therapy, this is tweaked and restructured into thinking that if I can break this large task, which I feel is not doable by me, into smaller steps and make progress step by step, I'm sure I'm going to be able to accomplish it. So, this is a kind of a restructured thought pattern which diminishes procrastination. Now, the second very important psychological approach that is employed by therapy is mindfulness. A mindfulness which leads to stress reduction, consequently. So, being present and not getting worried about something which happened in the past or getting anxious about a what if situation in the future is something which is tackled by this mindful approach. Being focused on the now and giving your 100% on the task at hand is something which combats this kind of an anxiety driven procrastination that frees you from focusing on what didn't work out in the past and what may not work out in the future. So, mindfulness is something that helps a lot. So, if a student, for example, avoids studying because thinking about exams makes them anxious, like, what if I don't perform well? And what if I forget everything? What if I have a blank out? So, using mindfulness techniques like deep breathing, focusing on studying one page at a time, instead of worrying about the entire syllabus. And usually, a student puts off work because they overthink about the outcome. So, a short mindfulness exercise, like a 5-minute meditation, can help them stay grounded. Uh, it can help them uh, prevent themselves from overanalyzing an outcome which is not yet, confirmed. So, a 5 minute, maybe listening to gentle music, focusing on your breathing for just 5 minutes creates a sense of mindfulness. Now, the third approach is neuro linguistic programming. Now, NLP is a neurological linguistic link which helps in reprogramming effectively, constructively, rewiring all neurological patterns that are responsible for creating better habits leading to enhanced productivity. So, neuro meaning neurological, pertaining to whatever happens in the brain. Linguistic is employing language as a medium in reprogramming uh, whatever thoughts and beliefs that we may have. So, if you always tell yourself that I am a procrastinator, it is a sure shot negative self talk, which is very self harming and is going to plunge you into greater levels of avoiding the work at hand. So, employing NLP or neuro linguistic programming as a technique and replacing this with a self affirming self talk, with a self affirming statement like, I take action and I complete tasks on time. It is like an affirmation. You're confirming that affirmation by telling yourself that I know I take action and I complete the tasks on time. Now, if someone, for example, needs to exercise but is struggling with any kind of motivation to exercise, so using anchoring, a kind of an emotional reconditioning, uh, helps them in creating that kind of motivation, like using music as an anchor, an emotional anchor to feel better, to feel more motivated and stay in the mood, be in the mood to exercise, is another example of neurolinguistic programming using anchoring. So, anchoring is a technique in NLP and coaching where a specific stimulus, it could be a vision, it could be a sound, it could be a stimulus, which enables a link between a desired emotional state, a desired behavior, and your current self. So, that's an effective way. So, therapy also employs something which is called goal setting and accountability, which we have discussed in a nutshell, like structuring the time, scheduling the tasks priority wise, making them manageable, doable by breaking down the tasks into actionable steps. So, this is something which is also addressed in the therapy realm. So, for example, if I need to write a 10-page report, but I keep pushing it aside that, oh, it's too much. How am I going to do so much? How am I going to even be able to fill in 10 pages? So, instead of focusing on 10 pages, goal setting and accountability is going to help you just write one page at a time. Having a goal, one page a day, or even half a page a day, is a smaller deadline, a smaller goal to meet, which makes one feel better about being work in progress, about being on the path towards accomplishing the eventual objective. So, the huge umbrella of therapy has a number of techniques that can be utilized to combat procrastination. Uh, I have just focused on four very, very important ones: the cognitive behavioral therapy, which addresses the thoughts, mindfulness and stress reduction, which connects your emotions to your tasks at hand, neuro linguistic programming, which employs language, confirming the affirmations in accomplishing the tasks, and goal setting, creating a sense of accountability, which is a more proactive approach in addressing hindrances in real time and understanding where is one going wrong. So, general strategies in overcoming procrastination would be breaking down tasks into smaller steps to reduce a sense of overwhelm, using self imposed deadlines to create accountability, and probably rewarding yourself maybe with an ice cream, with a film, going out shopping, applying the Pomodoro technique. I'm sure all of us have heard about the Pomodoro technique, where you probably create a timer in which you work for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break, and then again come back to work for another 25 minutes and follow it up with another 5-minute break and see if that works for you. Uh, Having said that, all of this is by default going to generate a sense of self discipline, create habit formation, and eventually instill a spirit of goal setting to approach every task through prioritizing the smaller goals leading to the bigger outcome. So this is how procrastination can be dealt with. And yeah, so just to break it down, we know the cycle. We often come across these thought processes which says that, oh, I'll do it later. Or, you know, when the time is gone, we say, oh, why didn't I start earlier? So procrastination uh, feels very good at the moment because you're replacing the, you know, the more enjoyable things with the task at hand. So it feels very enjoyable, feels very good in the moment. But later on, it leads to stress and guilt and a sense of missed opportunities. So it's a very good idea to start working step by step into the smaller strategies that we have discussed. There are some that can be done individually. And if there is a struggle on attempting to uh, work on it individually, one can always rope in a friend, an elder sibling, a parent, or you know move on and create a group, a kind of an ecosystem where one benefits the other. And of course, counseling therapy is always a go-to place which deals with the deeper hindrances that are beyond individual the parameters of individual correction. So one needs a professional helping hand at times where the thoughts can be restructured, the emotions can be reconditioned, uh, the right language patterns can be used to create affirmations, and a more structured, realistic goal setting kind of a schedule can be structured and strategized as per the individual because the same pattern doesn't work for everyone. So, yeah, so removing distractions, breaking down larger tasks into smaller ones, and the best way is to start right now and uh, to overcome procrastination and get a more fulfilling, uh, you know, a more satisfying contentment into accomplishing tasks, making you feel more confident about yourself, and replacing stress, guilt, and anxiety with sense of confidence, competence, and empowerment, and making one feel more capable for larger and better outcomes. So, with that, I'll wrap up this live on procrastination and how to combat it. I hope it has left you with some important takeaways that you will probably want to work on. And like I said, always rope in people in the form of a mentor, a guide, or a counselor to kind of get better at handling procrastination and see a better version of yourself. And like I always say, be your own eye specialists and navigate the challenges in more constructive and better ways. So thank you. And I hope there were some important learnings that you are taking away with that. Thanks.
Wow, that's amazing, Ritu. I was constantly hearing you, and the great tips that you have shared, and the very nicely mentioned, become your own eye specialist. Yeah. So what I normally suggest, and what I feel, so the tool set that you mentioned, that's a standard, right? That the principle that they should follow is integrate them and see their result, and they can definitely tweak, based on their requirement. Yeah. So
Right.
sometime, it's not that, the all the tools and technique will work for everyone. So it depends
Right.
on the personality, behavior, and the kind of the patterns that they have come through. Maybe a 16 years old student having so much of procrastination, so addicted to social media, and for that student to change that pattern, it takes time, and the different patterns, different tools that in techniques that they have to use. Maybe for other kid the same age, the techniques will be different, or maybe the result that they're able to see in themselves will be different. So the one suggestion, one as a mentor, one thing that I want to share it with all the parents or the students: don't keep a mindset ki, okay, I'm using this technique, okay, I'm not finding the result. So don't find that. So follow the tools and techniques for multiple time. Even if it's not working in one day, maybe try it for a week. Take a small step, plan it for 5 days,
Right.
then 1 week, then 2 week, then month, 3 months, 6 months. Then definitely you'll see the result. It's not that
Right.
the for some people it may work very quickly, for some people it may take time. So don't judge yourself with that,
Right.
or don't compare yourself with others. Yeah. So nicely you
Right.
have mentioned so many good techniques. I request all the viewers to find some space to adopt this, and definitely you'll see the change. You'll see the result for sure. Yeah. Thank you so much,
Definitely.
Ritu,
Definitely.
for being here and addressing very very important topic about everyone's life, that they face this kind of challenges and how they can come over this obstacle, and they can move forward in their career or in their personal journey. Any last word of
Right.
wisdom, Ritu, before we winding up?
I'm sorry, I could not, there was a network
All
issue.
right,
I could
thank
not
you so much.
understand what you did.
Oh, okay. So I was saying, any last word of wisdom before we leave?
Last words of wisdom is like you rightly said, I'll take it from there that there is no one sure short plan which works for everyone. So we have to be very patient in understanding, breaking down the tasks as per our own abilities, because we have to be truthful to ourselves and keep going. Because it's better to continue to do something rather than not do it at all, and there is a whole community over there out there for you to help you reach wherever you want to. It's if there is something you can't individually do it, always reach out. There are counselors, there are therapists, and maybe there may be some deeper issues that may be triggering that procrastination that might need to be looked into. So just don't lose heart, and what works for one doesn't work for the other. So keep your journey individual, unique, and have faith in yourself and continue to address whatever is at hand.
Thank you. Lovely. Thank you so much, Ritu, once again, and we look forward to interacting with you in the future with great topic. Thank you once again, and
Pleasure
dear
is all mine.
viewers,
Thank you so much for having me.
thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so we of it's 6:24. Thank you so much for watching. It's been almost 54 minutes. We have been interacting and sharing great tips from Ritu. We have been hearing. So any viewers should, if you have any questions, so you can put it in the chat box or in the comment section. We'll definitely try to answer. And also, if you're looking for to help yourself in terms of mental health or any psychological challenges, or related to your career or personal life, or if you would like to be part of our team or community, or to get certified as a career counselor or a psychologist, or a psychotherapist, or any kind of you can reach out to us. You can just drop a message in the comment section, or you can reach out. Definitely, our team will assist you to move forward in your career and personal life. With that, thank you so much. We'll be back soon with a great topic, with a great eminent speaker in the upcoming session. Till then, be safe, take care, keep smiling.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.